Hello, I'm Cindy Arenberg Seltzer, President and CEO of the Children's Services Council of Broward County. Welcome to another edition of Future First, Focus on Broward's Children. Today we're going to focus on maternal depression. Up to 20% of women develop depression and basic anxiety issues during and after pregnancy. For women of color, that number is almost double. Many women don't seek out help because they're confused by these symptoms, which after all are different from the positive feelings that they're told by doctors and family friends that they should experience. Since 2005, the Children's Services Council has funded Mothers Overcoming Maternal Stress, also known as MOMS. These programs are designed to decrease symptoms of pre- and postnatal depression and/or anxiety, promote healthy bonding between the mother and child, increase parenting skills, and reduce risk factors associated with child abuse and neglect. With me today to talk about these programs and the resources available to those who need them are Gloria Villalobos, MOMS Program Team Leader with Memorial Healthcare System, Sari Cohen, MOMS Program Manager with the Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies Coalition of Broward County, and our own Michelle Hagues, who's a Program Manager with the CSC, who used to manage the MOMS program at Memorial. Thank you, ladies, for joining me for this important discussion. We started looking at this issue back in 2005 after there were several high-profile cases involving postpartum depression, and as we started doing our research into the challenges that can create in bonding with your child, and which can lead to abuse and neglect, or worse, or not, that it can actually take a more positive path if moms are supported. Sari, I know you've been involved with this since 2006, 2007. I'd like to hear about your experience on the front lines as a counselor working with these ladies and how you were really able to help them and their families turn this difficult situation around.
Well, actually being a counselor starting out in the program back in 2007, I was doing home visits with the moms who were experiencing maternal depression during their pregnancy and postpartum, and we would work together. I would work together with them, helping them out with learning parenting education, linking them to services in the community, and of course working on them with coming up with goals to assist them in decreasing their depressive symptoms, as well as any other issues they might have affecting them at that time. So with assisting those moms, we were able to see them overcome these issues over time, working with them at least twice a month in these parenting and counseling sessions. And we've seen a lot of success over that time.
I think it's so important for our viewers to know that there is success to this, and also to address the stigma. I know at the beginning especially, and still in certain communities today, there's a real fear of actually expressing the fact that they're not having the typical, or I shouldn't say typical, the expected feelings of joy and elation that, and they think that people will think ill of them if they come forward. Have you experienced that? Have you seen that, Michelle, as you do?
What I would say is that one of the things that you did mention is a high-profile case. And what many women fear is that they don't want to be stigmatized in thinking that they're going to actually hurt their children. And that is one of the things that we want women to understand, that those are really rare cases where you will find anyone who's experiencing maternal depression to actually get to that level. The majority of women that actually experience what we're talking about today are dealing with symptoms that are things that can be managed through support systems as well as therapeutic programs such as the MOMS program. We basically know that women of color tend to also see that it could be a greater stigma for them to even make note that they are experiencing those symptoms. And we want to let them know that we do have counselors that can really relate to them and understanding what they're going through, and making sure that we do match counselors in both of these programs to various cultural backgrounds to help them with what they're experiencing and dealing with.
And it is normal. It's not an abnormal, you're not crazy, you're not, as you said, going to harm your child, but it is important to reach out and get some support.
And what we've found is that the women that actually do receive the support, it's through many times that word of mouth to let other women know that it is okay that I'm experiencing this and that help is there. Because once they realize that it's not just them, that other mothers do experience this, it's a helpful tool for them to say, okay, I don't have to deal with this alone. I don't have to feel like I'm going to have to pretend that I'm happy when I'm really not experiencing that joy that I was told that I should be feeling, and that it is okay to talk about.
Gloria, what have you been
Yeah,
seeing?
one of the main concerns that I've seen is that women having a baby, they have assimilated all these messages through the media marketing that they should be experiencing certain symptoms, and they have to be happy. And when they find themselves not feeling that way, most of them think they're the only ones, that why am I the only one feeling this way? They may go to a group of parenting, but they may think, I'm the only one feeling this way. The other moms seem to be so happy with their children. And typically, women do not go about saying, I'm depressed. That's not something that they say out loud. So it is through some conversations, assessments, that we explore the possibility and the symptoms. A lot of women are not aware of the symptoms of postpartum depression or maternal depression. It is true that after having a baby, there is some emotional changes as well as physical changes, and that people say that the baby blues are normal and typical, but after 2 weeks they're supposed to start going away. A lot of women don't experience that, and they may think, oh, my baby blues are just lasting longer. So when the symptoms get so acute and interfere with their daily routine with their baby to the point of not bonding with their baby in a positive way and isolating from family members, that's when services like the MOMS program, when we get them together in parent groups and one-on-one sessions, that we could explore and provide a lot of techniques and skills that they could implement.
For women or family members who may be watching now, can you talk a little bit more about those symptoms that you're mentioning? What would they be looking for?
One of them would be like a persistent sadness and frequent crying without an apparent reason. Like they just cry and they can't explain why. Withdrawing from loved ones. Social isolation, like they don't want to go out, they don't want to leave their home. Sometimes they find it difficult to just get out of their pajamas because maybe they're breastfeeding and they say, what's the point of changing if I'm breastfeeding all day? Or I'm not going out, so I'm not going to get ready, get showered. Feeling of powerlessness or hopefulness, that they can't do anything. Some of those are the ones that I can't remember right now because I've seen most of them. I don't know if you...
And also having difficulty sleeping that's unrelated to the baby, or sleeping excessively, unable to get up, having difficulty with eating or eating too much. Those are some experiences that many women have said that they've had, as well as feelings of anxiety where they start to fear being out in the public with others because they don't want others to notice how uncomfortable they seem with their child, or times that they may fear something is going to happen to their child. Not that they're going to do anything to their child, but that something is going to happen, even though there is no real signs of seeing any danger.
Is that excessive worriness without an apparent reason. As mothers, I understand sometimes we worry that something bad is going to happen to our children, but we may have the skills to control those thoughts. Sometimes the women that we see in our community, they can control, and they may be afraid that the child is going to have a terrible disease without any logical consequence, like there's no family history. They live with that fear. So it's not just right now maternal depression, but the anxiety component of becoming a mother and experiencing all this worriness out of like no logical explanation.
And this has nothing to do with socioeconomic status or education level, right?
Well, these are also some risk factors that we look at. If somebody is low income, then we say, you know, there's some added stressors that contribute to what the mom is feeling. So if mom is having a hard time putting food on the table, or mom is having struggles with getting to doctor's appointments, you know, these are added stressors. And we also look at that as part of, you know, our assessment in screening the moms to bring them as clients into the program. So there are many risk factors in addition to the maternal depression factor, I guess, that we're looking at. And specifically for our program, we want to look at all of these risk factors, and the moms who we bring in should meet at least 3 risk factors. So low income, a lot of times the pregnancies are unplanned, and that could also add to the stressors that mom is experiencing. Lack of family support, so we want to look at that as well. If there's been some kind of terrible something that happened to them over the past year. So we look at everything when we're screening the moms to make sure that they're eligible, and that, you know, these are all things that we work on to make sure that they can achieve their goals over time. So we look at all of these areas: decreasing depression, maybe adding support to their lives, and as I believe Gloria said, you know, working with them in support groups. And we do offer that as well in our programs. And that has been proven. I know for me, over the past 6 months or so, moms have been coming out and they love the support groups. And that's really been, you know, showing them you're not the only one out there that's dealing with these issues.
It's very, I think, seeing moms in a group, one of the groups we do, and to anybody who just come by into the room and see them, they say, but these women are not depressed, because they don't look depressed. When you see one of our groups, our moms laugh, they dance, they exercise, they play with their babies, and all of these activities are in an effort to get them, to push them a little bit more that shell that they have of sadness. So they find in our spaces, when they come to groups, the perfect environment to just let go a little bit of that sadness and interact with the baby. So it's really joyful to observe one of these groups. I also wanted to add that there might be sometimes a misconception that only low-income women are the ones who experience it, and it's not at all. I've seen women who are professional women, working and highly educated. They may have a risk of hereditary depression, or if they experience depression in any time in their life before becoming a mom, that could also be a risk factor for them to experience this.
Well, and I think there's something about expectations too that puts pressure on people regardless of, I mean, the expectations may be different, excuse me, in the different socioeconomic groups. The challenges may be different, but not being perfect, not experiencing things the way you think it's supposed to. And I remember my daughter's adopted, so I didn't have the postpartum hormone syndrome, but going to Mommy and Me classes and me saying, well, I'm having a problem with such and such, you know, my daughter's doing something. And all the other moms, oh, no, my child is perfect. No one else was experiencing anything. So being able to be in a support group where people are willing to let their guard down and actually say, oh yeah, that is a problem.
I am going through the same thing.
Going through, yeah.
And it helps to normalize. And I think that's one of the important things that we find, that when moms see that I am not going through this alone, and I can actually talk to someone, not only just to a program therapist, but also to other mothers of true feelings that they might be experiencing or going through. Like, it was difficult for me, as a parent might say, that I had to stay up 3 nights in a row, and even though I finally got my baby to sleep, I still couldn't sleep because I started worrying and started feeling anxious. To then hear another mom said, yeah, I kind of experienced that too, and I thought it was just me, or just even sometimes have that sense that I can also talk about it and not feel like I'm going to be just rejected because I'm angry or upset or feeling frustrated with my baby at this moment, that it's okay. I can say that and not feel like someone's going to judge me about that.
And I love the way you bring in the family to really understand and support the moms going through all of this too, treating them as a unit. But in terms of outreach, we have a couple of PSAs that we've recently done in order to make sure that, especially for those underserved communities or those that are perhaps a little less willing to step forward, the Spanish-speaking community and the African-American community. I'd like to show those to you now, and then we'll talk about them on the flip side.
I felt like I had no self-esteem. I remember one morning I went to the clinic and I was feeling really depressed.
It's normal to experience the baby blues after delivery for up to 2 weeks. If those feelings continue, it is important to seek help in dealing with postpartum depression.
I must say that I was very happy to be a part of the program because I was referred to a therapist and I got counseling. I was able to interact with other mothers that was going through similar situations, that was, depressed, that was stressed. If they're going through stress, if they're going through depression, as far as getting, having a therapist working with them, not being able to get to their baby's appointment, not being able to provide for their children, because in that sense too, the program has helped me with, diapers, has helped me with a lot of different stuff. So I really think that it's a very good program. If you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling depressed, call the number on the screen. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. Help is just a call away.
A muchas madres, la experiencia del embarazo y el parto a veces es seguida por tristeza, ansiedad y dificultad en tomar decisiones.
Si usted o alguien que conoce está pasando por esta misma situación, tienen que saber que no están solas. Hay ayuda disponible. Sus sentimientos son muy importantes.
El Children's Services Council fundó el programa Moms con el objetivo de ayudar a las nuevas madres y a sus familias a entender y superar la depresión postparto. Este mensaje es traído por el Children's Services Council del Condado de Broward.
So at CSC, we love our acronyms, and MOMS, as we know, is Mothers Overcoming Maternal Stress. It's one of the few acronyms that I actually came up with. And the first RFP actually was supporting moms. And I like that. I'm sorry we lost the supporting along the way, because it really is about supporting moms, wherever they may be and whatever they're experiencing. These are so powerful to see these mothers and the way they're now able to interact with their children. There was a previous PSA we had done a couple of years ago. Michelle, I think you were involved in that one as well. And it really talked about how important the family is. And I think we have to talk about that a little bit, if you would, how you engage the family and what role they can play in this process.
Well, one of the important pieces with working with mothers that are going through the symptoms that they are experiencing is helping them to find natural supports. Those can include anything from a family member, a friend, a spouse, a significant other. And what we've found is that when we can help those in the family understand and clearly know that this is normal, they are also able to then support this mother with the efforts of participating more in various things that include the day-to-day things that require, the care for the child, for a pregnant mom, going to doctor's appointments with her so she does not feel alone, or has someone there with her to ask the questions that she might not really know how to ask. That we found is when the father, when the significant other, when the grandmother, when the aunts, the uncles are able to help the mom through the process, you start to see those symptoms dissipate even quicker.
That's great. And what are you seeing?
We understand that a mom who's suffering maternal depression is not just affecting her own individuality, her own functioning within her own role, but the type of care that she provides to her new baby and maybe a toddler or family members, the husband. So maternal depression affects the entire family. And when we receive the moms into our program, we make sure that we're covering that family range. We talk to support people in the home. We reach out to dads. Lately, we've been trying to involve dads into our groups. They come with the moms, with the babies to the groups. We have done a lot of educational activities, entertaining, because we need to create a very solid base for that mom. And we have seen that dads who understand that the mom is not just going through some phase that she's gonna one day wake up and be herself again, when he understands that this is a serious issue, a serious illness, they are more willing to learn more about it and to see what can I do to help my wife be better.
Sari, are you seeing cultural differences, and how do you deal with that in the program? From, say, a Caribbean island, a local African-American family, Hispanic families, and of course among Hispanics there are so many different cultures. I don't mean to lump them all together, but how do you address cultural differences?
Well, we are aware, once we have a mom come into the program and I screen them, we always find out, where are you from? What affects you based on where you're from and your culture. And the moms are very open to sharing that with us. And we want to make sure that we're culturally sensitive to the moms that we're working with. We do have counselors in our program who speak, of course, English, Spanish as well, and Creole. So we're able to cover a variety of different cultures with these languages that we're able to communicate in. And when a mom from Jamaica has someone coming out to her and she's like, oh, I'm from Jamaica too, or, mom who's from Haiti, and she has, the ability to have a counselor who speaks Creole, that really shows also the moms from these different cultures that, wow, you have someone to help me based on, and what I'm going through, and it's not just someone who is of a different culture coming out to see me. So, and it is very stigmatized in different cultures. So we're very aware of that, and we let moms know, yeah, we understand where you're coming from, but look at all these other moms, and look at all these, look at the counselor who can come out and speak to you in your own language. And that's shown also to be very success, to give us more success with that.
How about at Memorial? I'm assuming the same is true at Memorial.
Pretty much the same. We have a variety of cultures within our staff. Moms, counselors who speak Spanish, English. We don't have one yet in Creole. For some reason, the referrals that we receive in South Broward, they're very, very, very few Creole. They're more in the central area, Fort Lauderdale, Lauderdale. But I've seen that it could go both ways. Like if me being Hispanic and I start working with a mom who's African American, it may be a little bit at first, a little bit of like, I don't know you very well, you don't look like me, but through conversation and really showing the mom like, this is not just a job I'm doing, but this is something that I'm really passionate about. Come to group, let me introduce you to other moms and work with me. I'm gonna show you how to interact with your baby, we find that common ground despite our differences in our culture. It works better maybe at the beginning when you speak Spanish, I speak Spanish, so we have, even better if we're from the same country. But when that is not possible, counselors find a way to find that link with the mom and make things positive.
You know, I think we find that in so many of the services, the love and passion of the worker is really what matters more.
Yeah.
Right.
If they care, the people who are participating in the service, they know. They know if your heart is in it,
Yeah.
and they know if you're just doing it to get a paycheck. It's a different thing. We only have a couple of minutes left. Michelle, you've now changed positions. Now you're managing these contracts and making sure that they're reaching their clientele. Do you have a vision for where you want these to go?
Well, I think Gloria made an excellent point in reminding that we know that raising a child is not just the mom. We know that, there are fathers involved, and we do want to make sure that they continue to participate in also helping the mom through this process. The services, again, that both agencies are providing do make sure to incorporate fathers and make sure that their voices are heard too, and that they also get support. We want to also make sure, as both Sarah and Gloria stated, that we are sensitive to the needs of the mothers that we're serving. So if culturally, if they are feeling like, well, I don't want to participate because there's something that will prohibit me based on my cultural needs, we make sure that all the counselors in both programs are sensitive to understanding and not be there to judge or tell a mom what you have to do. It's not the program is not meant to tell a mom what to do. It's there to support the mom and encourage her to feel free to talk openly and let us help her as best as possible with getting her needs met.
Those are great closing words. I love that. We're not here to judge. We're only here to support our moms and their families and make sure that they and their babies can be as successful as possible. As we've seen, maternal depression affects a large number of expectant and new mothers. If you or someone you know can benefit from one of these programs, from the information that you've seen here today, please know that this is a common occurrence. There's nothing to be ashamed of. We're all here to help you. It's important to get that help if you need it. I want to thank Gloria Villalobos, Sari Cohen, and Michelle Higgs for talking to us about maternal depression and the Supporting Moms program. For copies of this program or any other episode of Future First, please access our YouTube library through our website, cscbroward.org, like us on Facebook, and remember to join us next time on Future First, Focus on Broward's Children.